Behind me is St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia, where Patrick Henry gave his now famous Liberty or Death speech. It actually became famous throughout the colonies as soon as he gave it in March of 1775. That was about a month before Lexington and Concord up in Massachusetts. But he made an argument to those in attendance. Thomas Jefferson was one. Apparently he couldn't get into the church, it was so crowded, but George Washington was there as well. Thomas Jefferson looking through a window, and Patrick Henry ended his speech saying, "Is life so precious or peace so sweet as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death." And he ended on that note, and of course a resounding applause. He understood what liberty was. How many of us today really understand the concept of liberty? Do we know what it is? Do we know what it was? Do we know how the founders looked at it? I think we've lost the ability to even understand what liberty is. I certainly am not aware of a politician who understands the definition and what we are all about in this country. It seems to have been long forgotten to define liberty. Everybody says, "I'm for liberty, we want liberty," but how many actually understand what it is? And the founders, I believe, would say it is this: when government operates within the sphere of legitimate powers delegated to it by its citizens, we live in a state of liberty or freedom. But we look now about, does our government operate within the sphere of legitimate powers delegated to it? You know, we look at the executive branch. Does our president, and not just the current one, but many in the past, operate within the delegated powers of the Constitution? Or have those powers expanded on their own accord? Look at the executive orders going out, and we see very little kickback from our legislative branch. And if there is no kickback from the people or the legislative branch, that seems to keep growing. Are we under a state of liberty with our Supreme Court ruling on things that are not mentioned in the Constitution, without powers delegated to them usurping the authority to delegate what and tell us what is constitutional or not? And of course our Congress, which is supposed to have been the strongest branch of government, making sure that the people were represented, and that's why it is in two branches, basically abdicating many of their powers to the other branches of government out of fear that they won't be reelected. I think we need to come back and all visit this place of Richmond, Virginia, St. John's Church, rekindle the fire of liberty in our own hearts so we may understand what the founders expected us to do today. This is Jeff Utch, out for now.